Brazilian folktales were first orally told in the 13th century and then eventually written down in Portuguese, even prior to Brazil's independence from Portugal in 1822. As many cultures settled in Brazil, such as the Portuguese, African slaves, and missionaries, its folklore became a melting pot of all the cultures. Another tale from his collection is called The Lazy Man, and there is a motive of sacrifice which appears in many Brazilian folktales. The audience of these stories are towards the common people of Brazil who have suffered from the Portuguese colonization. The author wanted to portray what life was like during this time period. The Blackbird is a tale about racial prejudice, disrespect, and oppression which underlie Brazilian culture. These emotions and storyline also tie in with the Portuguese colonization. Over time, the Brazilian culture built upon and expanded the folktales of the Old World, giving them a brand new life, symbolizing independence and freedom. In 1917, after Brazil's independence, Elsie Spicer Ellis published a collection of Brazilian folktales which focus on a much lighter topic than racism and oppression: animals. The audience of these stories ranged from children to adults. Her choice of writing lighthearted tales probably came from the country's joy of becoming independent. All the tales from her collection have animals as the characters. She also incorporates giants and other supernatural creatures of the forest and river into her tales to make it more fairy tale-like. The author chose to include animals in her story also because animals are a significant part of Brazil's wildlife. Brazil has the highest number of both terrestrial vertebrates and invertebrates of any country in the world due to the great variation in ecosystems such as the Amazon rainforest and Amazon River. The most famous Brazilian folktale is the story of Saci. Saci is a very playful character in Brazilian mythology. He is dark-skinned and has only one leg. He is known to be a notorious prankster and is always blamed for when something goes wrong. He is always swung from a large tobacco pipe and has a red pointy hat that allows him to appear and disappear when he wants. He loves to play pranks like distracting people who are cooking so that the food burns on the stove. Some of his other pranks are to hide kitchen utensils, bang doors, or letting animals pen and carouse loose. Another favorite of his is to startle travelers or hunters who venture alone in the forest by whistling loudly in their ears. After this, he appears to them in a cloud of smoke, asking them to light his pipe. Inside every small tornado that raises dust and sweeps everything it finds in its way, there is a Saci. Saci has the power of being able to transform into an elusive bird whose hopeless song seems to come from nowhere. One can escape a pursuing Saci by crossing a water stream. If the Saci dares to cross, he loses all his powers. If someone throws a rosary made of seeds inside the tornado, Saci can be captured. With care, the captured Saci can be coaxed to enter a dark glass bottle, where he can be imprisoned by a cork with a cross marked on it. By taking possession of his hat, the person can have any wish granted. An enslaved Saci who regains his freedom may become either a trustworthy guardian and friend, or a devious and terrible enemy. A motive that is common to Western stories is his ability to appear and disappear, as well as being able to grant any wish that you want when you take possession of his hat. It is similar to the godmother in the well-known tale of Cinderella. She is able to make a beautiful carriage and dress appear and disappear so that Cinderella is able to attend the ball with the prince. Another ability he possesses is the power of transforming into a bird. Like the queen in Snow White who turns into an old lady in order to trick Snow White, he transforms into a bird so that he can pursue the travelers he is trying to scare. His magical abilities and playful pranks cause him to be loved by all who hear his story. Being a one-legged dark-skinned character shows the effect and influence that African slaves had on tales when they were brought from Africa by the Portuguese. Farm slaves would tell saucy stories to amuse and frighten the children. Over time he became black, his hair turned into a red cap, and he came to always be smoking his clay and reed pipe. Each year, Brazil celebrates National Saci Day on October 31st. Saci was depicted as a forest-dweller Indian boy with tan skin and a tail. However, when the myth migrated to the north, the character received strong African influences. Saci became a young black man with only one leg because, according to the myth, he had lost the other one in a fight. It was around this time that Saci began to be depicted wearing a magical red cap and smoking a pipe, typical of African culture.